Starting to get concerned here that this river is just extremely low. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yo! Good morning. It is another beautiful day in the far north, and this is day 4 of our adventure. Camped on this island here, not much wind, so the bugs attacked us this morning. So it's about 6:30 right now, and I think we're going to use the stick stove this morning. Ted collected a bunch of twigs and sticks from the willow bushes around here, so we're going to boil our water using wood and save a little bit of gas. The first order of the day is going to just be crossing this bit of the bay here and then jumping into the Hood River. If it's going to be another scorcher, I have to decide whether I put my dry suit on or not, because we're starting the day out with some rapids. Don't we have a class 3?
2, then 3.
Yeah, so we have a class 3.
Class 4.
So I might put on my dry suit bottoms, but it's going to be pretty uncomfortable. So maybe I just leave it accessible and like whip it on before I run the rapids. I don't know. Early 1800s, Franklin did one of his overlanding expeditions on the Hood River. The trip started from Fort Reliance on Great Slave Lake, where they traveled by sailing from England and then paddled all the way there, but they just left that all out and just started from Fort Reliance. They're looking to, map the Arctic coast, and so eventually their route included some of the Hood River, but they ended up basically having to walk back from the mouth of the Hood River all the way to Fort Reliance. Multiple people died, including Robert Hood, who was likely cannibalized, and that's how the river got its name, because they used it to travel up from the Arctic coast. At the base of the river, they built boats. I don't know how the heck they built boats, I guess out of whatever gear they have, and they managed to cross the river. So there is what's called Franklin's lost cache here down below Wilberforce Falls. People have looked for it, but in his journals he cached a bunch of stuff in the area, so that'd be pretty cool if we could find that. Although the naming of this river is sort of foreboding to someone about to paddle it, that it got its name through a guy that was murdered and cannibalized on a starvation expedition where multiple people died. Anywho, I'll just brush that off and have a coffee. I should have been a cowboy. I should have learned to rope and ride. Riding my 6-shooter, riding my pony on a cattle drive. Stealing a young girl's heart, just like Gene and Roy, singing those campfire songs. I should have been a cowboy. And once you're through the one verse of Toby Keith's Cowboy, while spinning, that's how you know it's ready. 2 verses, maybe your coffee will be a little strong because now it's sat too long. Just the chorus, you're gonna be chewing it. So I've already stirred my coffee with a shotgun, a paddle. Well, I guess Ted's chair will do in a pinch. Well, you're probably wondering what you do with all this garbage. Granola bar wrappers, my vacuum seal packages, that kind of stuff. Ideally you don't want to burn garbage because it's not
kind of a survival thing too.
Yeah, but I'll save the Ziploc because I can reuse that. But the issue is that all this stuff starts to stink, and it just gets nasty, and then it starts to attract bears, which has actually happened to me before. I guess you could wash off every little piece of garbage, but then you're carrying it around, and then at the end of the day, typically when you get back to a northern community, if you want to throw it out there, they just burn the dumps there anyway. So Probably advisable, especially when you're heading into polar bear country, to burn off your garbage. Now you don't want to do it without some sticks, or else you're going to leave like clumps of like burnt plastic behind. So to do it properly, you really have to have a bunch of wood. So because we have some wood left over, we're going to take the opportunity to just burn off some of our garbage. Probably 10 o'clock right now. And we are on the water. Just have to paddle around this island, and a crossing will be in the first bit of current of this trip. We're in the first bit of current here, and I thought maybe it'd be a good place to fish. Sure, there'll still be big lake trout down lower, but sometimes fish will wait where current dissipates, because they'll wait and ambush food. They'll hang out in back eddies and wait for food to come down river, and they'll shoot out into the current and attack it. So that's why I thought there's a bit of current there, and then it dropped off deep, so I thought it might have been a good spot, but apparently not. Anyways, we got our first rapid coming up right here, so just gonna bomb it. But yeah, the rapids, you got to be extra careful when you're in these remote places, because walking out of here isn't an option. It's probably about 300 kilometers in a straight line, not to mention all the lakes and rivers you'd have to swim across or walk around, if not even possible in rivers, to get to Kugluktuk, which is like completely off the road system, not even a winter road or anything. So, you know, essentially you'd be like walking to the Arctic coast, and so it's just unrealistic. So it's many $1,000 float plane evac to get you out of here if you're in a position where a float plane can land. So challenging. So you don't want to mess around out here, because you can get pretty deep pretty quick. Here's our first bit of moving water. Doesn't even look like anything. We have some river notes that say it's a class 2, but here it looks more like a swift, although it bends around the corner. So I'm gonna head down it, and then I'll kind of report back to Ted on how deep it is, because Ted with the folding canoe really can't afford to scrape over any rocks or rip a hole in that thing. Hey Ted, watch where I go. This one looks sketchy. Hit a rock. See, that would be a problem for Ted. I didn't really scout it or take the best route. So yeah, the water looks pretty low, so maybe we're gonna have pretty low water. It is looking like we have some low water. I went down the first one, no problem, the first little chute, and got to what would probably normally be a bouldery class 2, and there's just not enough water in it to run down it at all. I think it's pretty much a portage for Ted with his pack canoe, because the water's so low, and if I was going to run it, I'd like tank some boulders. So even for me, it would be me wading it, wading and lining it. So I might just portage too, but We're gonna go check on the other side, see if there's some more water, or it might be easier to wade on the other side. Yeah, so I think this means we have low water. This past winter was the warmest winter on record, with really also record low snowfall too. So this is why, I mean, this is relatively early. Oftentimes there's still ice on the lakes into this part of the year. So we're just hitting it with low water, and this is because of how warm and dry, I guess, last winter was. Seems to be a lot of water in here. So yeah, I'm probably just gonna portage with Ted, as opposed to just trashing the bottom of my canoe. I probably could have waded on the other side, but to be honest with you, it would be pretty sketchy, so I don't want to take too many risks. Sometimes it's best to just pick up and portage. We're getting eaten alive. Oh, black flies. Woo! Annihilated. There's no wind there on that portage. And we just got hammered. Still getting hammered. Look at this. Look, I'm hitting like, let's do a test here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. A couple blew off. Get out into the wind here. Wow. Here's my lunch today. This is blueberry pemmican. I made this pemmican at home myself. Big old chunk. I dried and pulverized the berries, dried them out just in the oven on low, used a dehydrator, blasted them all up with a coffee grinder. This one actually started by buying a large beef brisket and use the fat off of it to render too. It's really good. Like, this is what the voyageurs used to eat. It was traded heavily with the Métis on the plains of Canada with the Northwest Company. Basically fueled the fur trade. At that time, traditionally, it was made with bison. Sometimes there's no berries in it, but when there are berries, it won't last as long. It has an extremely long shelf life. When there's no berries, it doesn't provide vitamin C and stuff, but it will last longer. When you're hungry and your body needs a fuel, you get a taste for it, and it just starts tasting delicious. Also can be used in stews and stuff like that. What's for lunch, Ted?
Kirkland trail mix from Costco.
Boom.
M&M peanuts, regular M&Ms, peanuts, cashews, raisins, almonds.
What do you rate it out of 10?
10 out of 10.
Now we have a class 3. Who knows what that's gonna look like? Hooked into something here. Nice laker. Good eating size. There's a nice little good sized one. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a drop. Does this say it's a 3?
Yeah.
You might have to like line around here. I'll tell you, it looks like I might be able to get down here though. Yeah, it looks like you could get down here, Tad. Just get over and back ferry into this eddy right here. Oh, there's a fucking rock right there. I hit a rock. Wow, this low water so far is really slowing us down. Because Ted's pack canoe, he doesn't want to be scraping over rocks like I just did there. You know, you get what you get when you come out here. And I think oftentimes the Hood River is run at relatively low water. And that's because the headwater lakes hold their ice for so long. By the time a float plane can land on an open section of the lake, the river has already gone down some. So it's fairly common that's run at lower levels. But because this past winter there was so little snow and it was an early spring, I think this is lower than typical. But you know, rivers are always lower in their upper stretches. So you know, here having a portage and wade some of these rapids that in higher water you can run means some of the class 4s will be class 3s, and maybe we'll be able to run some of the higher volume rapids that would otherwise be portages, essentially. Approaching a waterfall. Just in the midst of fair-sized portage around this beautiful falls. River just goes into a tight channel, rapids, and then pours down this last drop. Just awesome. And yeah, 3 trips per portage because of the camera gear, but all my bags are a little lighter because we were forced to meet the weight restrictions, so that makes it a little easier, but still feeling it after that one. And gonna go back and get the canoe next. It's looking like probably today we're gonna have up to 3 more portages before we get back into a lake where we can get some miles behind us. So yeah, too bad that those first 2 weren't runnable, but gotta just take things as they come out here, and overall I'm feeling pretty good. So anyways, time to go back for the next load. Oh, snag. Told you it was too shallow, Ted. Immediately snag. Enraging. I was kind of blaming Ted because I'm like, I don't think we're gonna get snagged here, too shallow. He's like, oh, let's just do it for the shot then. Immediately got snagged. No lures left, and then he was trying to unsnag me. He's being super helpful, but when he's trying to unsnag me, he broke my line with his paddle. So now I'm gonna swim out there and try to unsnag me, and Ted's gonna just hold on to the spot, and I'm gonna put my dry suit and swim down to it and get it.
So, see where it's slotted? You see that? See that thing? Why don't you put your paddle in that slot?
Hold on, just hold my paddle. I don't know.
Here, but like this is the thing, I couldn't pry the rock.
So if I move that rock, then I'll get it?
Yeah, it's like between, see this big rock, this little rock, fuck,
okay.
filling up.
Here we go, I'm gonna go get it, right? got that hidden. Oh my god.
You never would have got it.
Oh my god. Dude, did you see how jammed under that was?
Fucking dinner plate.
Well, that was interesting. Not really what we had planned. But hey, it's a nicer day today, so that's good. But yeah, it's challenging because so much air gets in your dry suit that I can't really swim under, so I had to get Ted to hold me under the water with a paddle while I wrangled this giant boulder that the lure was under, but all's well that ends well. Well, back on the water after that rod debacle, or that lure debacle. Didn't exactly get much fishing in. Crazy, I smell forest fire smoke in the air. Must blowing here 200 miles. You got one. It's a good eater, Ted. Yeah, that's a good eater. I think I'll keep that one. That's about as small as they get around here. Oh, it was like as smallest one of the trip, basically. But it was hooked right through the eye. So we have grade 2, fairly simple scout run left. Then at grade 4, like maybe we can just walk it, you know? Like, I mean, like wade it. Pulled over here to scout the next rapid, and it looks like we can run it. A little more water in here than the other ones. Okay, well, we have a runnable rapid here. Some actually pretty big waves at the end. But, you know, class 1 and then a class 2. So this is exciting because the way things are going, Ted and I thought we'd be portaging this. So yeah, the obstructions are just stacked on this part of the river. So we're not making very good time, but most of the river is a little more open than this. But we still are gonna have like 2, if not, yeah, we're still gonna have a solid 2 to 3 portages before the day's over. So it'll be nice to actually run something, but it's not gonna be easy. There's a lot of boulders I gotta dodge in here. That was pretty tricky. Scraped over a rock there, hitting that last hole. Fun. water in the canoe there. This is quite the portage. Super rugged, up a big mountain. It just keeps on going. Okay, back on the water after a long portage. We are jumping right into a rapid with a lot of boulders. Ted's gonna have a hell of a time getting down here. The wind's just blowing me sideways too. I'm worried about Ted ripping holes in his pack canoe. I don't know if I could have taken a better route. And plus, when I'm trying to back ferry and side slip right, but I got a hard wind pushing me left. Oh, nice. More meters of this crap. Just not enough water. We're still high up river, so hopefully the volume picks up. I'm sure it will because there's a lot of tributaries. So this isn't horribly uncommon high up in a river, but this is a really low water year. Well, through that melee, but now we're in a wide boulder riddled stretch of river. Might have to jump out at any point. And we're approaching what's supposed to be our last portage of the day, where the river drops, so class 4 probably, but it's hard to tell if there's much water. So I'm starting to get concerned here that this river is just extremely low, but it's mostly fed by tributary rivers, so it should pick up in volume the further we get down. We just paddled through its one headwater lake where we started the trip from, which isn't, I guess, absolutely massive, or it's not a huge source, so a lot of this river's water comes from other rivers. So I'm just hoping that that's the case, because right now this seems a little crazy. This is gonna just jump up and start portaging. Have a look over this hill here and hope that there's some river. Well, we were thinking we were getting where we needed to get to, and then we hit this. This is supposed to be an easy class 2, and it's not even a wade. It's borderline a portage. We're gonna try to wade it. Ted's gonna have to take out bags of his boat and put them back in and out of the boat to lighten it up. I'm gonna have to like do some damage dragging over rocks. Really, we probably should be portaging, but it's just a raging boulder field here. So that's why, yeah, it's dangerous to portage because it's a crazy boulder field. So yeah, normally this would be a fun little thing to float down. Instead, it's gonna take hours because it's just so low. That's very low water. So anyways, just when I thought it was really low water, it's like way lower than I imagined. This is just how she goes. Crazy, very low water. And we have just been going at this all day for hours and hours. This is a never-ending drag slash portage. We should have been halfway down the lake by now. But water's been down all over the place. Barges and other ships, the Coast Guard can't go down the Mackenzie River. Water's down like 15 feet there. We heard all the rivers are low in that area, and we heard some are high, some are low. It's weird. And we were hoping where we were going here wasn't affected, but you know, there's not like some sort of gauge we can check in online. This is like the Arctic wilderness, so you get what you get. But yeah, it's challenging, but nothing much we can do other than just like push on and try to stay positive. So, and speaking about positive, it is very, very beautiful out right now. Gorgeous weather, and just this country is just unreal. So pretty cool. Well, we've been going at this for 11.5 hours straight today. Ted just checked the time. It's 9:30 at night. So actually more like 12 hours because we left camp around 9:30. And yeah, we have a little bit more to wade here. I ended up just basically dragging my canoe over the rocks more than I would normally want to. So hopefully this Tough Stuff expedition grade canoe will be fine. They're built to take a beating, these canoes, but they do have a gel coat, so it's a balance. So they're lighter weight than a traditional Royalex boat or other plastic type boats that you can maybe drag more, but those boats are a lot heavier. So I think I'll be okay. And a little more dragging to come, but hopefully once we're past this next headwater lake, we have some more tributaries coming into the river. This super low water won't be really holding us back like it is today. So anyways, time to move on. Yo! That felt good. When we were at the end of the last portage, I got a feeling that like there was some fish in front of me. I've heard maybe there's grayling in this river, so I thought, oh, I wonder if there's a fish here. And I looked down and looked directly at a lake trout, a beautiful lake trout, probably 8-9 pounds, just chilling in a tiny back eddy, no more than 5 feet away from me. Just so incredible. We just let it be. We're thinking maybe to speed up the evening at camp, we just cook the fish for breakfast, which is delicious. I personally love fish for breakfast. Get a big feed to get a jump on the day too, because it's like way more food than our oatmeal. So we might just eat some dehydrated meals and go to bed, because it's going to be like after 10 by the time we get to camp. So we're at another portage. We're probably just going to camp here. It's taken us over 12 hours to make it 6 kilometers today because of the low water. But anyways, there's all kinds of obstructions stacked here, so we'll be able to make better time as we get more into it. I wonder what Franklin's comments were on this stretch of river here. We made it to camp and the black flies are vicious. We both had to bug jack it up. We're just like randomly clapping in the air and killing like 15, 20 at a time. So whenever a breeze comes, they kind of go away, and as soon as the breeze dies, they're just right back on you. Anyways, yeah, it's quite late, so I basically was hungry and just pounded one of my lunches. So that pretty much means I can't eat a dinner, but maybe I will anyways, because I'm gonna have to pull over and eat dehydrated food for lunch one of these days, because I'm like at least one lunch short now. We kept a couple nice eating sized lake trout today, so we put them in the fridge, aka in a couple Ziploc bags into a larger bag with a rock, and sunk them in the cold water to keep them, and we'll probably eat those for breakfast, or who knows, maybe a shore lunch or something, depending on how we're feeling. And just eat something fast today, since it's probably already like 11. not get in my pants. Won't even buy me a drink first.
Oh my god.
Die. Well, I found these yummy fruit source bars. I realized that I'd ration one per day, but I haven't even gotten into any of them yet. I probably should have saved them for the lunch that I just pounded when I got here, but I didn't. I'm going to demonstrate how you eat when the bugs are this bad. This is why I buy triple XL bug jackets. One of the things we had to ditch was our tundra tarp, or bug tarp. It's basically just a tarp with mosquito netting walls, which is a bastion for comfort. You can go in there, cook, whatever, not get attacked, but it's like heavy and bulky, so we couldn't bring it. Okay, we have chicken curry with rice. Alright, that's a good bit. Just gonna drink it right through here, look. And that way, it filters out all the dead mosquitoes in your hot chocolate. You can't realistically bring this whole thing. Oh man, I put way too much water in it this time. Oh, good though.
I find that if you let it sit for like another like 8 minutes, it still thickens up. I kind of like it a bit watery.
No, this one's stupidly watery. Yeah, I think we only made it like 6 kilometers today after giving her for what turned out to be about 12.5 hours. But we were rewarded by this awesome campsite that's just basically kind of on a point, I guess. The river curves around us in a horseshoe with a rapid below, and we're perched well above the rapid, almost like a big turret, and it's beautiful. We have a 360 degrees view of the surrounding rugged hills and tundra, and the river winding down to the large lake that's below us in elevation. So that's really cool, and we're really looking forward to traveling across that lake tomorrow and hopefully smashing a huge lake trout, because we didn't get the chance to do that today. And really looking forward to seeing what tomorrow has in store. Hopefully the weather keeps up. That would be awesome. I'm going to go in the tent and have nightmares about black flies carrying me off into the abyss.